Hi, welcome to part 5. We will look at some more questions on AWS Certified AI Practitioner. It's very important certification. Almost everybody should do it, whether you are a data engineer, a solution architect, network and security guy, but you still have to do it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not done it yet. Now, why you have to do this certification is because in each and every space, there is an opportunity to use generative AI and AI tools and products so that you get advantage in terms of productivity, advantage in terms of moving faster and improving the quality of your work products. Okay, fantastic. Let us move into this question. There is a company, they are building a fraud detection system using SageMaker. Now, if you are a layman, you don't understand AI, that is still okay. SageMaker, see anything you got to do with AI, you should use SageMaker. In Amazon world, SageMaker plus Bedrock. Together, you should use to get the maximum out of the AI space in AWS. Okay, SageMaker has been around for some time, but Bedrock was not. Bedrock came into existence probably in the last 2 years because of generative AI. So, what does SageMaker do for you? Machine learning, that is something that it can help primarily, and advanced analytics. You can build your traditional AI models using SageMaker. So, if you uh, have built a model using SageMaker, you got to deploy that. And this question is saying that if I'm trying to deploy it, okay, you want to provide predictions with a very low latency for real-time transaction processing. For example, sales keep coming in for certain products, okay, or there is a decline in the sales, and you need to know in real time why is it declining, what happened in a day or so. So you need to do that analysis as fast as possible. Is this the place where the aisle and the product is placed in the store? Is that a problem, or is something a bad review of the product on social media that has caused the sale to decline? Anything can happen, but you need to know that. So you want real-time transaction processing. That means you need low latency. Low latency means high performance. Low latency, high performance. So which deployment option is best here? So option C, real-time inference. Since we are working with real time, we are not working with batch. Again, we are not working with batch. We are working with real time. Batch is out of question. Okay. Okay. Option D, serverless inference. See, in this case, if you use serverless, there would be a problem of cold start. You know what is cold start? In winters, you have your car and you have a cold start problem. Call it cold start. That means you need to heat up your engines. You need to start your heater so that by the time you get into your car, it is already at a room temperature, which so that you don't feel cold while driving. Your engines are all warm and nice to drive. Okay, so every time you shut your car and you start it up for a couple of hours, it goes cold again. So that's the same problem with serverless inference. It becomes cold again. So you got to have some solution which does not have a cold start problem. This will have a cold start problem. Now you might ask, boss, what what does it? I mean, why should I even worry if there is a cold start problem? Dude, you need lowest latency. If there is lowest latency means, for example, you book some food delivery through Zomato. The Zomato guy, the moment they get that order, they just rush to the restaurant, they pick the order, they wait for the order to be cooked, and they pick it. So they cannot wait. Hey, you know what? The Zomato guy is telling you, dude, I know I have to deliver this in 10 minutes, but my bike, it has a cold start problem. I need 10 minutes just to warm it up. What if the Zomato guy tells you this? Will you buy that? No, you will not buy it. That means you are not able to provide lowest latency. The Zomato guy has to go in as fast as possible the moment they receive your order because this guy has to make a delivery in just 10 minutes. I'm talking about India. Zomato is a app, an Indian food delivery app. So that is the reason serverless inference is wrong. See, SageMaker processing. This one is for data pre-processing. It is pre-processing the data for your AI needs. This is not for real time. Now, in these certification exams, I try to just use sometimes my common sense, which is very uncommon in the world, especially in the Gulf regions, the way they keep fighting among each other. I sometimes feel common sense is uncommon. So what you have to do is I come here in this question and I look at real time. I look at real time and then I look at options with the real time and then I say, okay, dude, this is my answer. I quickly whiz through, see batch transform. Batch is talking about batch processing. It is not real time. What does batch processing mean in the data world? I got the first data. I will still wait for 1,000 data rows before I transmit and process it. You know, like you have your personal car, you just get into a car and uh, go to your office or whichever destination you want. But the moment you use public transport, the bus or the train, they wait. They have a certain time. They wait for people to accumulate at the railway station so that they have at least 100 people. If you are in India, they wait at least for 1,000 people. And mind you, getting 1,000 people, collecting 1,000 people, it just takes 5 minutes during rush hours, and the train is full. Okay, and then you can have a very good environment within the train. You can smell each other's sweat. Uh, yeah, dude, India is still that way. Unless you are in a metro which has a good AC service, the metro rails are good, but imagine a Mumbai local train. I sometimes don't understand what do Mumbaikars boast about. The bad smell in the local trains, a lot of rush, a lot of population beyond control. What are they so proud of? And on top of it, they ask you to talk in Marathi. That's icing on the cake. Okay, so this is our final answer. This is our, but I'll give you a slide on justifications. I explain you whatever I explain you, it is documented here. Whatever I explain you is documented here. And so this should be the correct answer. Option C, real-time inference with dedicated instances, because it helps you to provide low latency predictions. How? By deploying the model on always on compute. So there is no problem of cold start. It is already hot. It is already hot, man. So you always board a car which is already hot so that you get the maximum performance. So this is our answer. Now this is the next question. A very easy one. I would say it's very easy. Why? So we are talking here about again SageMaker. This certification is all about SageMaker. So what have you done? What the question is saying is, dude, I have a model, SageMaker model. Okay, and I want to track the performance of this model. You want to track the performance. Okay. Now, what if the performance is bad? If it drops, buddy, if it drops, give me an alert. I need to know through an alert. Dude, your performance, your model performance dropped. You need to intervene. Okay, please wake up if you are sleeping and fix the model. So, which AWS service is more appropriate? The moment I see SageMaker, the moment I see receiving alerts, that means I have to monitor something. So, I will say I will go with SageMaker model monitor. Common sense, common sense. I quickly glance through option A, B, and D, and I feel that, dude, this is the most easiest one to pick because I do not have any confusion on CloudWatch, CloudTrail, SNS. Now, you might ask, hey, you know what? Whenever we talk about monitoring solutions, we usually talk about CloudWatch and CloudTrail. Yes, yes, if it is for other services, not for SageMaker. For SageMaker, they have already given you model monitors. If you want to monitor your model, you use model monitors. So what alert it will give you? If the performance degrades, if there is a data drift, if there is a bias over time. What does bias over time means? For example, you keep shooting in questions and then after some time it says, you know what? The model gets a bias and says, you know what? Every time I get a question, there are high chances that option B is all is usually correct. This is a bias. We don't want the model to be biased. Otherwise, it will take this bias and chances are many times it will use this bias and say, oh, option B is the right answer. But that is a bias. You should evaluate each and every option correctly and then arrive at the right answer and not use the bias. So bias is not a good thing. Uh, in usual day-to-day life, do you see bias anywhere? Like Bangalore, people saying whatever problems we have, traffic and hygiene and other problems, it is because of outsiders. That's a bias. Okay, because it everything is not because of outsiders. How do we know? How do we know? The IPL final match, and after that, the Stampede, that was not so good, and that does not, that also kind of, proves that all your problems are not because of external entities. That can be taken as one of those. Okay, so I'm just trying to show the bias, how people are biased. A lot of people are biased. Like if I get married, many men are biased. If I get married, I would end up getting killed. In the recent times, I see that bias. A lot of people assume that, oh, that is the natural course of action. So the point is that bias is not a good thing, and we usually see bias in our day-to-day life. A lot of times we see this bias with it may be certain section of the people, certain community. With respect to language, also we see biases are there, and so many other things. So we are all human beings, emotional people, and that's why that gets you get biased. But you all have to remember that models cannot be biased. See, by nature, what I see in human interactions across the world, not just India, across the world, I see it becomes so much convenient to make mistakes and then blame external entities for your problems. Any country also, a lot of country does that, and they always think that, for example, USA, there is a bias. All their problems are because of immigration. Okay, that's the narrative certain people or certain leaders have put, that all the problems that you have because of immigrants. The moment they all leave, you all will be rich. Now, if we look at CloudWatch, it provides infrastructure level monitoring, not model monitoring, but infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, you might ask, boss, what do you mean? We mean RAM, we mean CPU, and so on. So CPU, that is a compute, memory, RAM. A lot of applications are in-memory applications, models. They use a lot of memory, etc. So model monitoring, this guy will not do CloudWatch. CloudTrail is primarily used to track APIs. API calls are made between AWS services. You can use that for auditing and security purposes. Also, you can use it. A lot of time, we use it to understand if there was a penetration attack or if there are bad players try to get in. We go into CloudTrails, and we try to see the logs and audit logs and try to see if what happened. It's a part of forensic. We call it IT forensic, or security team runs the forensics, and these logs are very important. That is done through CloudTrail. It will not help you with monitoring the models and say, you know what, your models are performing low. It will not help you with that. And then last one is SNS. It is a notification service. Now, just because the question says, hey, buddy, could you notify me? Just that just does not mean that you should start using WhatsApp and your SMS services, a push notification. This is, you notify me if you find a problem. First solution, how will you find a problem? You need a software to find a problem. And that software is your model monitor. It's a feature. Right. The next thing comes is SNS. SNS you can use to send alerts, but model monitor already has that. You can configure it and send alerts. But SNS alone will not help you with this one, because it cannot alone understand that, hey, your model has a problem. It cannot understand that. So option C would be our answer, where we say, okay, SageMaker model monitor. It's easy. You have a SageMaker model. You want to monitor and receive alerts. You use this. Fantastic. So this is the next one. Your company is already using recognition. Why do we use recognition? To analyze images. Like, you want to recognize yourself in a group picture. That is what recognize can do. You want to identify a person having a long beard and a turban in a series of images. You have 5 terabyte of image and you want to identify such person. You can use recognition. Okay. You want to identify a bald guy, because maybe some criminal is bald guy, and you want to identify, and there are certain key features. The nose is sharp and etc. Okay. So in this case, the company is already using this to analyze the images. They want to ensure there are no PI. Why are they analyzing? They are analyzing because whatever images users upload, for example, Facebook, this can be even Facebook or Pinterest. People, it is all available for users to upload pictures. So now people upload pictures. What if uh, they upload? They want to ensure no PII such as faces is stored permanently by recognition. Okay, so when recognition is analyzing the image, it should not store the faces. It should forget it. It should look and forget it. It should not store it. Okay. So, so in image context, sometimes I see face is also a PII. Why? Because using the face, you can still do racial profiling. Whether some person is white or unwhite or some other ethnicity and etc. or some community groups and so on, with curly hairs or blonde hairs, etc. I'm just giving examples. I'm not trying to say that uh, we should use it for that. I'm just saying that this can be used and for racial profiling, which is probably not a good thing. Okay, because it can affect in getting a bias towards elections results and so on. People can use it in different ways to benefit, or I would say illegally get benefited out of it. So technology should be good enough to uh, not allow certain section getting benefited out of it. So which feature or configuration you should use? So see, if you look at this common sense, option C straight away looks correct, because it is saying I will detect the face, okay, and I have a property called stored collection option. I will set it false, okay. If I set this false, it will not store. Common sense, it looks great. Other options, other options say, it's saying I would enable encryption at rest for recognition data. I will enable this, okay. Now the challenge is, see, the question is telling boss do not store at all. What option A is doing is, I will store it, but buddy, don't worry, I will encrypt it so nobody else can use it. No, boss, don't store it. I told you not to store. Then why are you storing it? Option B. Option B says, I will use this detect labels. See, here we are talking about face. We are not talking about labels. So why should I worry about labels? Now D is saying again encryption solution. Boss, I told you not to store. What you are telling is I will store it in an encrypted manner and I will use customer managed keys. But you don't store at all. That is what the question is saying. So this is the explanation. You can pause and read it. I have already explained it. But if you want to read or make your notes in one screen, we have explained what is correct and what is not correct and why. So option C is our answer. It is correct answer. Even with common sense, you can answer this. So you see, certifications are not difficult, especially this certification. You might some people might get scared that hey, I am not from this field. That's why I'm finding this alien. Don't worry. You just subscribe to this channel and keep listening. We are explaining in a very layman term, and I'm giving examples from real world also, so that you can relate. You will remember it when you are actually sitting in the exam. You will remember these examples. A lot of people tell me that whatever examples you explained, we could recollect it during the exam. See, you may get same question, similar question, okay, or a slightly twisted question. But if you have understood these videos and concepts, you have tried to relate it with the real world, it will be a cakewalk for you to get certified. This brings us to the end of part 5. Do subscribe. You can click the join button and become a member, a cloud kernel member, cloud kernel. Okay. So what this will do is it will give you access to lot more questions and lots of explanations to navigate and help you with improving your chances to get certified. So this brings us to the end of this part. Stay tuned, stay focused. We will meet you again in the next part.